I want to begin my presentation by thanking the May 18 Foundation for their invitation. It is an honor to speak to you on the occasion of the 40th commemoration of the Gwangju Democratic Uprising. For today's presentation, I have been asked to comment upon the three presentations made by my colleagues, Professor Gwangju Chi from Korea University, Professor Nam-hee Lee from UCLA, and Mr. Gaston Chillier, Executive Director of CELS in Argentina, and to attempt to draw together any threads I find. The goal of this event is the commemoration of the democracy uprising in Gwangju. Just as efforts are made in Taiwan, Argentina, and here at Kent State to remember what happened and commemorate it as part of an effort to ensure that these events are never forgotten. There are two implicit questions that each speaker asks. Why was there such a struggle to remember these events by those who suffered or witnessed them? And why, in each case, did the state take such great efforts to forget what happened or to rewrite the history of these events? Addressing the second question first is the excellent work of Mr. Chillier and CELS, who have made it their mission to uncover the depredations of the Dirty War, and more importantly, to seek some form of justice for those who were tortured, killed, and disappeared. In Argentina, South Korea, and Taiwan, as in conflicts across the globe, state authorities attempted to denigrate democracy activists as communists who desired the overthrow of the state. These arguments, that state violence was inconsequential or necessary, are similar to those made by authoritarian regimes throughout the 20th century, and are often used to shield authorities from accountability and, at times, to assuage the consciences of those who committed violence on behalf of state authorities. As Kundera notes, the struggle of the weak against the powerful is often a struggle of memory against forgetting. In that struggle is where our three speakers have focused their research and their life's works. In doing so, each has focused on a different set of actors and a different aspect of the struggle of memory against forgetting. Professor Chi notes that the success in commemorating Gwangju's democracy uprising is contrasted with initial failures to commemorate Taiwan's February 28 incident, and argues that this contrast was due to the success of sympathetic elites in South Korea and their failure in Taiwan. Most notably, Professor Chi points out the role of Kim Dae-jung in pushing for a special law to address the Gwangju incident, leading to the arrest and convictions of Chun Du-hwan and Roh Tae-woo. By contrast, efforts to uncover the truth behind the February 28 incident in Taiwan were stymied by conservative lawmakers who at that time successfully argued that the violence was the fault of an erring bureaucrat rather than acknowledging the ruling party's role in the violence. Professor Lee makes an alternative argument that the success in commemorating the Gwangju uprising was due to pressure being brought by many civil society actors, ranging from victims' families to student groups to religious authorities. And it was this pressure from multiple sectors that encouraged and forced elites to address the issue and to counter the state-sponsored narratives of riot and rebellion. Professor Lee provides a clear analysis of the people's movement to create truth, and through the overthrow of government lies about the 518 movement and incident, to address a series of social ills and inequalities. In contrast to the Chi paper, this one focuses on how the people's movements were instrumental in keeping the flame of memory to be embodied in the public sphere through legal changes, investigative bodies, commemorative acts, and the establishment of international solidarity movements. Mr. Chillier's examination of 40 years of work by CELS shows how civil society activism can affect large-scale changes in not just the social memory of such events, but in the state's willingness to move beyond what he describes as a reconciliation mindset that cannot exist without acknowledgement on the part of the perpetrators. Here the focal actors are activists and lawyers, those who unearth the bodies and increase pressure on the regime, both at home and abroad through targeted measures rather than just general social unrest. In this, I can see that each of my colleagues focuses on the issue of surfacing human rights violations by concentrating upon a different sector of society. Dr. Lee's focus is on grassroots people's movements, while Dr. Chi focuses on the role that elites can play in either promoting the examination of these events or stymieing such efforts. Mr. Chillier takes a middle road with his analysis of how CELS helped to empower civil society while at the same time increasing pressure upon national elites through its local, national, and international advocacy work. The main goal that each of these approaches shares is not just payment or punishment, but it is acknowledgement. Something unspeakably wrong was done by identifiable people to other identifiable people. It must be acknowledged, and efforts must be made, continuous efforts, to assure us that it will never happen again. This is the key element of transitional justice in all of its forms: courts, truth commissions, reparations, restoration, and commemoration. For those who don't know my backstory, my interest in the Gwangju Democratic Uprising comes from my own position as a professor at Kent State University's School of Peace and Conflict Studies, which was created in 1971 as a living memorial to the 4 students who were shot and killed by Ohio National Guardsmen on May 4, 1970, while protesting the expansion of U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War. As someone who comes to you from another place of state violence where no prosecution took place, no reconciliation was engendered, and no other understanding of what really happened and why ever occurred, I cannot begin to emphasize how important the uncovering of the truths of these 3 conflicts has been, and the official acknowledgement and commemoration of the specific wrongs has been. The work of CELS and the activists involved in surfacing the truth about May 18 is invaluable to all people, because only the surfacing of truth has the potential to lead to the acknowledgement that can not only bring a measure of peace to those affected, but is the necessary first step to preventing other such atrocities from taking place in the future. Thank you.